real quick before we kind of do our like schedule breakdown, I want to talk about Dak Prescott a little bit. He's making more money annually than any other quarterback. With his contract, 4 years, is $60 million annually. Is he the guy for Dallas? So, like, do you believe he can lead this team to a Super Bowl and be that franchise quarterback for this team?
I do. I think so. I think a lot of other things around him will have to go right, and I would say number one for me in that is health. And it's not just him; it's the pieces around him. I mean, to me, I've said this several times this offseason, but I'm originally from Detroit. I was born and raised in Detroit, so outside of the Cowboys, I follow the Lions pretty closely and have all of my life. And you go into last season, I really thought the most talented rosters in the NFC were the Lions, the Niners, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. And I thought by the end of the year, the Eagles were clearly better than all of them. And I think it's funny when people just think that like, oh, this is because they're more. No, they're not. They were the healthiest team. All those other three teams all had tons of injuries. The Eagles were rolling out in the Super Bowl. The offense they ran in week 1. Like if you kind of goes back to the offensive line thing. Mike McCarthy used to tell us this all the time. And after the press conference would be over, we'd have this walk off. Some stuff would be on the record, most of it off. But he would always talk about that continuity of that starting 5 offensive line. Like, tell me who my starting offensive line is week 1 and tell me who it is in week 17. And if it's that same group, we'll be in good shape. And that doesn't mean it has to be all first round picks, but you need to be healthy. And so for Dak to win a Super Bowl, I think it would have to come in a season where everything fits. And that's why I thought 2 years ago it was happening, because they were relatively healthy across the board. And so that's the biggest one for me. But do I think like he's on the same level as, Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen? No, but I also think that he's in that next tier of that 5 to 10 to 12 range where you'd much rather be there than go, yeah, you know what, let's move on from him. And now all of a sudden you're in this wilderness of, let's just be honest, you got to play games in the offseason with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the Steelers have been looking for a quarterback since Roethlisberger, and I don't know many people that cover this league or follow this league closely that wouldn't say that historically the Steelers are one of the best run organizations. And it doesn't take much to look over at them and be like, man, they're having a hard time finding a quarterback. They seem to always have an answer, and they don't seem to have an answer right now. It's not just the bad teams that can't find it. The good franchises can't find quarterbacks either. And so that's the problem. That's the spot you get into at quarterback. Like, yeah, maybe you don't have a guy that's top 5, but man, you certainly would rather have a guy that's 6 to 10, 6 to 12 than be constantly changing it over in the offseason and trying to hope that you find that guy. So it is interesting because he's the face of the franchise. He's the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, so he's going to get the most blame. Cowboys fans regard him as the most underrated player on the roster and the most overrated. So he's in an interesting spot, but I definitely think they're better off going with him than trying to just trade him and then start over and just try and find another quarterback.
Right. I mean, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. This is a guy who you've seen lead this team to the playoffs, lead this team to division titles, be in MVP conversations, finishing second in 2023. So, like, you've seen that there. And you mentioned an organization like Pittsburgh. For the past 3 years now, since Roethlisberger retired, they have started a different quarterback in week 1 and week 18. That's 3 straight years now. So, like, you're right. Even the best franchises struggle to find quarterbacks. And the ones that do are the ones that win Super Bowls, like the Eagles and the Chiefs these past few years.